Alright, let's talk about my Xiangling. My Xiangling is level 90 and Constellation 6. You don't really need Constellation 6 to be able to use her. Obviously, if you gain more Constellation over time, she'll obviously be better, just like almost every character in the game. Apart from maybe Bennett C6, that one's kind of debatable. So, Constellation 1 is a great constellation. It decreases power rest for Goba. Constellation 3 is pretty great, increases power native by 3 levels. Slow Bake Constellation 4 increases the power native's duration by 40%. Goba Med increases Goba's level by 3, and this Constellation 6 is power native condensed, basically increases the party members' power damage bonus during the uptime of power native. Now, if we look over my stats, I don't have the best build Xiangling. I still have some pretty good stuff, but yeah, it's obviously improvable. Here, as you can see here, above 50% crit rate. That's probably something you want to have on every character you want to deal damage with. At least 50% crit rate. The sweet spot is 65. I figured out over time, or personally for me. And yeah, crit damage basically the double of the crit rate if you can manage to push that. Now, on Xiangling we need Elemental Mastery a lot. She ascends with Elemental Mastery, and you can get Elemental Mastery from artifacts and everywhere, or weapons, which we'll address soon. And we have pyro damage bonus, 61.1%. She doesn't ascend with pyro damage bonus, that's why it's so low compared to other characters like Tartaglia, Zhongli, or whatever, right? Now, the weapon, her best in slot weapon, Dragon's Bane. If you have the weapon Refinement 5, it's insanely good. I've played it on a different account with Refinement 5, and holy moly. Also, the weapon comes with Elemental Mastery 221, and that's pretty great. Other options, the catch. The catch is also pretty good. It has energy recharge, and the passive, the Refinement passive, is pretty good. Increased elemental burst damage by 32%, and elemental burst crit rate by 12%. That's very, very great. Another option you could run is Avonius Lance. You basically, if you have this weapon on Refinement 5, you have almost, you always have your burst ready whenever the cooldown is down. And the Deathmatch, known for its high crit rate and similar base attack to the Dragon's Bane. Also, the Refinement is pretty fine, or the passive. And yeah, the crit rate is also pretty great, so you can focus more on crit damage building and whatnot. Great. For the artifacts, we're running a 4-piece Crimson Witch of Flames. Another alternative to this set would be 4-piece Emblem of Sir Fate. If I can show you one piece, here the new one made for Raiden Shogun. Another example would be this one here. If you run the 4-piece Emblem of Sir Fate, you will have to use the catch. With that weapon, it's probably the second best build. I'm not too sure right now. And yeah, we can look at the stats I focus on my artifacts. Here, basically, just like any other DPS character, crit, elemental mastery, attack, crit rate, right? If you run the catch, if I was running the catch, I would probably prioritize using this flower since it had higher energy recharge. And if you run the catch build with the emblem, save Emblem of Sir Fate, the more energy recharge you have, the higher your burst bonus will be. So yeah, energy recharge would be better. In this case, this flower would be better than. Yeah. And here, if you look at this piece here, we have high crit damage, attack percentage, energy recharge. They have other options I could run. This one has high crit rate. My crit rate is pretty good, so I don't really need that one. We also have this one here, which is probably my best Crimson Plume. And yeah, you can decide what fits to you. It really depends on what your artifact is, or how your stats are. So yeah, always make sure to see that. Basically, if you look at my guides, I basically always say or state somewhere what type of crit ratio you should look out for. I think on the Xiangling guide I suggest something like 65, 130. No, 65 crit rate, 130 crit damage. And yeah, always look out for that, and you shouldn't have any issues figuring out what type of crit ratio you should run. So for the Sands here, we have high crit damage, 1 energy recharge, and attack main stat. You can also run elemental mastery main stat. So I could basically run this piece here with much better substats. Yeah, unfortunately I would lose the 4-piece bonus, so I have to stick with this for now. Yeah. Then for the goblet, we have a pretty basic pyro goblet, crit, double crit is here, energy recharge is there, you know, the basic stuff. And for the circlet, we have a crit rate circlet with crit damage in the substat. If we had enough crit rate, we could also run this tier, this crit damage piece with the low crit rate and elemental mastery. It really depends on your personal crit ratio, what you choose. And yeah, that's overall my Xiangling here. Pyronado level 12, Goba level 11, normal attack level 8. You don't really need the normal attack, to be honest. I only have it upgraded because I used to be a Xiangling main in like patch 1.2, where I used her as a main DPS, physical main DPS, and for Abyss, so that's why I have mine upgraded. But if you start building your Xiangling now, you don't really need to upgrade it at all. So basically just focus on these two skills. Priority is on the Pyronado. Goba also does great damage, but you'll eventually raise them both to the same level. Optimally would be both crowned, but yeah, it really depends on you how much you want to invest into her. Yeah, that's about it. I've been asked if I could do some damage showcase, which we'll do now. So we can drop Goba here, and then the Q 24,000. Oh shit. 24. I think that's a pretty good showcase of the damage from her Pyronado.